What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and we have some huge stories coming in at you, much bigger than we thought. We're going to talk about, of course, 911 going down here locally with just a tiny bit of research we found in the last 2 weeks that this has happened all over the country. What in the heck is going on? Now, again, with the local situation here, I bet you they're not going to tell you, oh, we were just testing things. In fact, they're probably going to say it legitimately went down. So if all of these systems are going down, what is happening? Is this, I'll let you guys decide. On top of that, we're going to talk about everything that is happening with the possible WW3, with sources and everything else. We'll be right back right after this. Again, today's show is dedicated to Florida Patriot 71. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse from Marfoogle News. Where are you? All right, what is going on, guys? My name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Before we get into the official news, I just want to say I'm very pained to tell you guys that one of our good friends and a fellow YouTuber and somebody that meant a whole lot to a lot of people here in the Foogle family has lost her battle to cancer. She knew that she was close over the last few months. A lot of us, again, knew that this was coming, but it's never something we want to actually hear. Florida Patriot cared more about humans and animals than most people care about their entire, self. She was an incredible person. She specialized in helping, SHTF tips for your animals, which nobody really thinks about. She actually, I thought it was genius when she first started that channel because, again, it was something that nobody really thinks about as far as in this niche. Nobody's really gone down that route. She not only did that, she took care of animals in real life. She was a real life animal hero. So, again, her boyfriend Steve is grieving really hard right now, I guarantee. So I'm just putting a whole lot of prayers out for Laura, aka Florida Patriot 71. And I know that she went to the right place. We're going to have Ann call in just a little bit. We're going to get to some of the serious news. There is so much here. It is insane. So I wanted to play what she said was her favorite song at the beginning there. So again, I really appreciated her and just tons of prayers. So if you are new here, this is a live show. Anything can happen. We do try to back up everything we say with a source. So if we tell you something, usually it has a backed up source on our website. We have a bibliography that we take the time before every single show to add, so that way you know exactly where your stories are coming from. Now, when you go over to Marfoogle News, it's very easy to navigate. Today's thumbnail, you'll just look for this. Systems going down. It's happening everywhere. When you see that, you can click it, and then, of course, it will bring you to all of our links for today, including basically links that you won't, links that are on the Too Hot for TV. So when you scroll down on our website, you'll see everything that we're going to cover here today. You can go back retrospectively and check my work, and then you'll see web-only content. That's the stuff that is too hot for TV, basically the stuff that people are getting booted for. That is all down there. It's all free. You can go and access all of that. We have done all of the work for you. We've put together basically everything we feel is important to know and much more. On the right side, if you do want to support us in any way, you can. Our affiliates are over there. Right now, again, it's been a rough year. So again, we are independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. We have the Foogle family and we have the Mafia. Again, people like you are the people that really make this keep going. So thank you so much. Everybody, I hope everybody's having a great Christmas. One thing I will say though, it is Christmas season. So if you need to not donate and, spend that on yourself or on your family, I totally encourage that as well, too. I know that a lot of people are struggling right now. I don't want to take anything away from anybody else. Thank you, everybody that has been here tonight, and thank you for everybody that's joining already. Ariel, the Wrestling Mermaid, thank you for early on support. Rest in peace to the fellow fan. Keep being awesome. And the only news we listen to from Ariel and Mike. Ariel and Mike, thank you so much, and I appreciate all of you guys. Nancy Stuckey and Andrew Brown, thank you before the show even started. Came in and supported. Thank you. That Gen X dude, a flipping switch test for Seattle, Washington. So we're going to show you. I'm going to load up in a second here. There are a lot of different systems going down. In fact, so we had AWS, Amazon Web Services. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but that was unrelated to a lot of these other ones. In fact, when Dex and I were looking, it was just like they were popping up everywhere. And it's all in the last few days. So very freaky stuff. We'll show you point blank. Once you see it, it's not like you can't even take this out of context. This is 911 systems going down in several places in the last couple weeks. Why? Are they testing to see how it would work if we get it knocked out on purpose? Like if an enemy of the state or enemy of the country takes out our 911 systems or takes out our entire system. So say they take out the satellites that help run the system. I wonder if that is why, and they're trying to take it down to a local level to figure out how the logistics of that would work. I don't know. But what I do know is we are getting closer than ever before to a conflict that most people don't want to admit is happening. WW3, as we call it, is something that is a real serious thing. It's not something to be afraid of. It is something that you should have in the back of your head, at least be somewhat prepared for, because when or if it happens, and again, I believe it's a when that happens, there's a lot of variables. Will we be involved? Will it come to our homeland? Will it be a proxy? Will it be a bigger proxy? Will it not be a proxy at all? Will it be a direct conflict with two of the world's superpowers? And then, of course, allies on our side, everybody versus everybody. Will it be a free-for-all? Will it not happen at all? That is the lowest chance here, and that's what people are paying attention to now. So let's bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host. He'll also be on the phones tonight. You can call in. Tonight is a call-in show. We'll only be taking a couple callers on top of Ann, and that is 224400-MARF. If you have information or crazy stuff or a video, we can actually get that on the show tonight, and then, of course, link it for the rest of the Foogle family to access later on. Again, the callers' information will all be at the bottom, including Ann, who we know is calling in. Her information will be down below web-only content. That's this spot. Dex updates it live. So lots to go down. And then possible, almost purposeful taking out of the medication that basically gets people off of hard heroin and stuff like that. Some are saying that there's, in the last 6 months, that they just pulled stuff off the shelves. And that there might be this massive shortage, basically sending anybody that is trying to stay off the stuff right back in, causing a big problem. So that was from Blue Kool-Aid. Again, Wages World. We'll talk about that here later as well. Dex, what is going on and how are you doing today?
Oh, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So obviously, Dex, you were with us last night, but you had family time and you kind of did your holidays at, a little bit off timing because of everything that's going on. As far as
a little road trip.
Florida Patriot 71. Really, 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 really sad to hear about this. I talked to Steve briefly before the show, or at least I was in messaging with him, and he's going to try to get us some pictures of get us some pictures of Laura. I wanted to put together a separate thing on top of today. This is just a kind of a dedication. As far as I want to put together a show, if you have some moments of Laura that you want featured, let me know. Please go to my Twitter and DM me that stuff. That's the easiest way to get directly to me. I would love to see what your ideas are, or if you have a video or you did a stream with her that you just found was absolutely fun or amazing. Please let me know about it. I'd like to put a little thing together as far as just kind of paying homage to how amazing she really was. So again, make sure to let me know on Twitter. Okay, and then Dex, I guess, you've been around for 2 years. She's been around for a long time. So, I mean, you got to know.
Yeah, I got to know her. She's a really great, a great human being, great individual. It was fantastic what she was doing to help the community, and she will be missed. And very sad to hear of her passing. It's a tragedy for her and everyone around her, but it's very sad.
Well, I think, and then she just texted Ann yesterday and wanted to physically write. I'll let Ann tell you, because it is really, that's what got me. I was driving around and Ann called me, and I was able to get a hold of Ann and talk about this, and to hear kind of her last kind of statement with her was just it was pretty hard to hear as well. So that Gen X dude says, I still have a landline, it still works. Red Pill said, thank you, Marf, Dex, and Foogle fam from Preppers in Beaufort, NC. Hey, thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And then Silver Garza and Susan Donahue, nice to see you here, says, thank you, hashtag Team Humanity. And then I don't want to miss you, Lifeboat. The Lifeboat. Thank you for massive support. That's not the first time. I really do appreciate you. So a lot of people are talking about Jussie Smollett, right? Made a huge deal in the news back when all of this other stuff was going on. He faked a hate crime, and this was pretty bad. To be honest, once the kind of court case came out, and it just was like, man, this guy is he's a piece of work, that's for sure. It says Jussie Smollett was convicted Thursday of staging a crime, hate, nearly 3 years after he claimed two T-Man loving bigots beat him up, tied a around his neck, and doused him in bleach in a misbegotten bid to raise his public profile. So he actually did this to try to get people to feel bad for him or empathy, or this is, I don't know if you've ever met I have a feeling that this guy's kind of like a what do you call it, somebody who lies just all the time, and he thinks in his head, he plays this out in his head of how it's going to go, and he's fantasizing about and actually it worked for a minute. People were totally on his side. People were defending this guy until they realized that he hired these guys to do the whole act. And then, of course, it just didn't end up well. He got caught. It said it took nearly an hour for the actor to return to Chicago courthouse to hear the jury's guilty verdict. For Smollett, that means the verdict is a final chapter in the made-for-TV saga that jurors found Smollett not just starred in, but directed from start to finish when he asked two men to fake beat him up, gave them a script of homophobic and racist slurs to deliver, and selected a stage for the phony beatdown that he thought was in direct view of surveillance cameras. So we've kind of, there's so many fake videos on YouTube of like staged things, and you never really hear about these things kind of getting caught, or I mean, I guess you do a little bit, but for the amount of stuff that you question, especially on the new shorts, it's like you can totally tell it's staged. It's like they totally, especially these stupid shorts and experiments, these public experiments where they drop money and somebody puts it in their jacket and all this. It's like there's stuff like that all the time. This one had such a nefarious intent that it was absolutely disgusting. He was trying to start a kind of a divide. I mean, a color divide. I mean, like, this is the worst kind of divide you can try to cause, especially at the time that it was at. And it was all to push towards it. Some people think that he might have been paid to do the thing. But I will just go off of the official narrative. He got charged. Jurors heard 6 days of testimony from 13 witnesses and deliberated for less than 10 hours. So it wasn't 4 or 5 days like some others. This was pretty easy one. It says, in the absence of smoking gun evidence, the trial in Chicago criminal court came down to whose story was more believable, Smollett's or Abimbola and Olabinho Osanderos. It's like just crazy. It says the defense vehemently maintained Smollett was the victim of a real hate and called the brothers a sophisticated liars and criminals who later offered to recant their story and tell the truth in exchange for $2 million. It says he's dumb enough to go into a honest city and pretend there's T-Man supporters running around with hats. Give me a break, defense attorney Nenya Uche told jurors in his closing arguments. He really told them, he's like, this is a city that's basically all one direction, and he's saying that there's a couple of these guys, redneck guys, wearing these hats in that city, right? That was in his closing arguments, and apparently it worked. It says the brothers were like wolves disguised as sheep in the hen house. Prosecutors, however, said Smollett exploited tense relations for his own gain and paid the Osandaros $3,500 to stage the attack so he could get attention. Pretty sick. It's pretty sick if you ask me. And then aliens may have already visited Earth. Bombshell NASA report reveals as Pentagon ramps up hunt for UFOs. I mean, if people are calling WW3 a distraction when, like most of that is put to the back burner. This stuff is put to the front. This is what people are talking at work about at the water coolers, other than the other distractions as far as all of the stuff that's personally affecting us. The money we might receive or might not receive from the government, or the restrictions on how we're going to grandma's house this Christmas. All of that stuff is fresh right in your face, and it is just blasting you. Meanwhile, all around the world, they're moving military around. They're doing nighttime drills. They're practicing for the next conflict. I mean, this is like, as far as, a lot of people are following the alien UFO stuff. But again, it's like they just kind of pump stuff out when they need it. It's almost like they decided, they're like, should we go down the road of like, almost like kind of saying that they're real, so then we could talk about it. And anytime we needed to take attention off of one thing, we could just kind of pump out a government kind of funded, alien UFO kind of teaser. I don't know. Seems like it. It says aliens may have already visited Earth, according to a jaw-dropping report by NASA. It says, which says the organization is not closed to the possibility extraterrestrial life exists. It said, while the report said it had not yet found any credible evidence, it said that NASA's science missions were working together with a goal to find unmistakable signs of life beyond Earth. So, of course, all of the videos that came out over the last couple of years and a lot of the releases, and then, of course, congressional hearings where they're calling for, these questions to be answered. Why are there UFOs over our nuclear plants and our critical infrastructure? And they didn't have answers. So Congress started pushing them. And then part of the weirdest part is they said that they would do a part. They said to get this passed, one of these past stimulus bills done, that they said part of that stimulus bill, for one side to agree to it, they said you must add in that you'll do a full report on these UFOs by a certain date. When that report came out, it was basically a redacted piece of crap, and it had nothing. It had basically no information that we didn't really see coming, and it just basically pushed it down the street. It just kind of, it kicked the rocks down further down the road. It kicked the can further down the road. And now it says the details were released under the Freedom of Information request by NASA by governmentattic.org, which, gosh, I got to go on here more often, and released November 30th, 2021. In the document, it stated that we learn of unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP, or more commonly known as unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. It opens up the doors to new science questions to explore. Now, I know a lot of people that believe that some of our technology might have came from UFOs or aliens, that there's deals with the government, that they may have that they may have been here for a long time. They exchange technology for an ability to take people up and do tests on them and all sorts of stuff. Again, what do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And then we have dead Roombas, stranded packages, and delayed exams. How the AWS outage wreaked havoc across the U.S. So a lot of people that commented, they said, I don't think it did anything. It did actually do a lot, and I don't think that they're going to tell you the full extent of it, because AWS is now used by DoD, CIA, military, Army, Pentagon services now use it for all of their cloud computing. So pretty big deal. It says that robotic vacuum cleaners couldn't be summoned. Whole Foods orders were suddenly canceled. Parts of Amazon's mammoth retail operation slowed to a standstill. Amazon Web Services, the leading provider of cloud infrastructure technology for businesses large and small, was hit with a historic hours-long outage on Tuesday. Popular websites and heavily used services were knocked offline, angering users and underscoring the severity of the problems that can arise from having so much economic activity relying on technology from just a few vendors. So you knock out maybe, again, one of these companies and you take out a third of the global cloud infrastructure. Again, AWS runs, and so all these big companies, they run through Amazon. So if you see these massive online companies, they get their services from Amazon, or most of them do, a good chunk of them. It says AWS controlled 33% of the global cloud infrastructure market in the second quarter, according to Synergy Research Group, followed by 20% and Google at 10%. Revenue of AWS jumped 39% in the third quarter from a year earlier to $16.1 billion, outpacing growth of 15% all across Amazon. It says Tuesday's outage began around 11 a.m. Eastern time, so about, I guess that would be 8 a.m. Pacific, and mostly was resolved by Tuesday night. Amazon confirmed that service issues with AWS main U.S. East 1 region, located in Northern Virginia, were causing problems for its warehouse and delivery network. The company has not said what caused the outage. They still have not given a single answer on this. Now, this is obviously, we can only take guesses. We can only speculate at what happened here. Most of us are probably, it's in the back of our heads that we think that this was a hack. This could have been China. This could have been Russia. It's just funny that around this whole ordeal, there's all of these other things going down. There's all of these other systems. Remember, SolarWinds happened. It was the largest hack in history. And through SolarWinds, if you have not, make sure to look into SolarWinds after this show. If you have not heard of that, it actually broke into basically everything, and it broke into all 5 military branches, including Space Force. It broke into absolutely, just massive amounts of different web things. Also want to just kind of throw this little tidbit in there. When the last president was leaving and this president was coming in, there was a super weird DOD kind of switch up where it basically leaked out, or somebody found out that a huge chunk of the government websites switched. Like the control of these websites all of a sudden got pushed to a little like building above a restaurant, like a little tiny, like one of those New York, like in Ghostbusters where there's a Chinese restaurant and there's an apartment above. all of a sudden it switched to an address that looked like it was like a condo above a retail space. And then it switched back later on. It was really weird. Solar winds happened. Tennessee, we had an explosion right outside of a major information hub, the AT&T information hub, which, by the way, let like a 30-minute alarm out that said, hey, please evacuate. We don't want to actually hurt anybody. We just need a huge boom and basically get everywhere, any witnesses out of the area. And then it went boom, boom, and then nobody said anything about it, even though that people still have questions about that. And some of us may know just a little bit more than others. So as far as what was contained in that building, I mean, certain like servers and things like that if they were taken, they would have integral, basically pieces of the puzzle if you needed to break into different things with the U.S. government and other things. So just a little side throw in. As far as solar winds, we haven't seen the end of that because that broke in and possibly put backdoors in other systems that then they fixed, but yet, they had access. They had access for months. Whoever did this, they were guessing Russia. They were, some speculated China. They were in and they were looking at everything. They even accessed specifically a program called Black Start. Black Start is the program that the U.S. had basically planned. Our entire plan, if our power grid was to be knocked down, this Black Start program is how we would actually start it back up. It would be our plan on rebuilding, on getting all the lights back on. Now, if you access the plan that basically tells you what we're going to do, if you were to, say, knock our power out or knock our grid out, you would know the exact steps that we were going to then take to turn it back on. And if you wanted to stop us in our tracks from turning it back on, well, you would drive in the street right in front of us. In fact, if you knew the way we were going to drive, you could park and set up a roadblock right in the middle, if you get my meaning. You could stop it from going back on, especially if you knew all of the locations that we had set up to actually back up ourselves. So this is big. This is a lot bigger than most people think. Again, we'll talk about the systems that are currently going down right now as we speak. A lot of I don't know if we have an update on Seattle, but the alarms and the alerts kept coming. I couldn't do anything on my phone for like 2 hours without seeing it pop down again. Even though I cleared it, I pressed OK, I pressed X out. And it just kept popping up. It's saying, hey, if you need to call 911, you have to call this regular number, which is funny because that's the exact same thing that has happened in many different places, including, for whatever reason, now places on the West Coast. So before we move on, again, if you do want to protect yourself against these things, you actually have an option. If you have not checked out EMP Shield, I highly recommend that you do so. This is the same company that the actual Department of Homeland Security, the actual resilience report that warned every American that we should have 6 months to a year of food. That was a government document that warned us that 90% of us would perish if the grid went down. They're warning that this is one of the highest threats to our actual country. If something was to happen, it would be the most likely scenario. As far as, we would way more likely get our power turned off than have a nuke hit us or a surprise attack. This would happen first. So if you do want to protect yourself, you can get the same company that has not only been mentioned by DHS, used by DHS, but DOD and even on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid, which has their own separate setup. You can go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Not only will you be helping your favorite channel, you'll be getting a $50 discount per device. So if you want to protect your house, your generator, your car, so you're not stuck somewhere after an EMP or even a natural CME, a Carrington level event happens, you can do so at marfooglenews.com/EMP. It's 100% American made. It's a veteran-owned business. Again, we started with them before they had any of that. And when they got all of these government contracts, we didn't know if we would actually, we didn't know if they were going to see them still sell to consumers. So luckily, we still have that grandfathered in deal. Make sure to go use it. Make sure to go check them out. It's all handmade. All right. And then let's get our first caller on. Susan Donahue, I appreciate you again. Thank you for your support tonight. Joseph Newhouse, I was reading about the new heaven and found that the Greek word used is the same as the Greek Uranus, Oranos. Also did a follow-up to yesterday's article about Musk relating to the Matrix Resurrections. I will check it out, Joseph. Thank you for letting us know. Again, if you guys haven't checked out Joseph Newhouse, make sure to go do so. He does a lot of really cool deep dives into some of the stuff we talk about. Stephanie Saluzas. I hope I'm not butchering that. Thank you for your massive support of the show tonight. I appreciate you. And then 18,000 troops training all at once, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Never happened before. That was Candy Hooten just commented. 18,000 troops training all at once at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Never happened before. I want to make sure everybody heard that one. And LSR86, repent and believe in Christ Jesus. Soon he will return and snatch away his bride. Then tribulation will be upon the whole earth. I believe there's a lot of people that agree with you here. Let's get Ann on. I wanted to talk to Ann about this, and then I am actually going to load all of the outages around the country, and I'm going to show you absolute proof that something is happening here, at the very least. And then Dex, feel free to chime in on anything. Again, I know that you've been on the phone, so.
And yeah, I'm trying to get Ann on the line, and we may be having a technical issue, so give me 1 second.
Okay, no worries. And then also on deck we have Corey, a first-time caller, and
hello.
Ann, how are you doing, and what is going on?
Yes. Hello, Adam, and I am doing very well, thank you. Lynn and I are just doing real good.
So,
are you there?
Yes. So,
Okay.
Obviously, I guess let's just start off and let people know. A lot of people knew Florida Patriot 71. She was in chat a lot. She wasn't so much in the last few months just because she was very sick. But in fact, at the very end there, she was having a hard time speaking. So she was doing a lot of her stuff through text.
Right. Right.
So,
we had, her name was Laura, Florida Patriot 71. We had Laura on March the 31st on our show, and she was just a sweetheart. Her channel was basically about dog training. She boarded dogs, and it was all about dogs. And so we had a wonderful visit with her, and we kept kind of in contact ever since. And I hadn't heard from her for a while, and I sent an email and didn't get a response. And I reached out to some other of our Foogle fam channels and found out that she had kind of gone downhill. And then yesterday, just out of the blue, we were getting ready to go live on our show, and I got a text message from her, and this is what she said. Hey girls, I'm still kicking, not for long, but still kicking. This will definitely be my last Christmas, and I'd love to send you both a card. If you could send me your address for the cards. And she said, the letters may be a bit personal, but at this stage of the game, I get to do what I want. She said, LOL. My mommy said to do what makes me smile, so that's exactly what I'm doing. You two remind me of the relationship I only wish that I could carry on with my sister. And I wish you nothing but the very, very best. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year, and many, many more to follow, Laura. And so I immediately texted her back, and I told her we're going live now, but I want to talk to you. And so she wrote back, talking is pretty impossible. I'm very hard to understand. Texting is more my speed, and the shaking is so bad, I seem as if I am a drunk texting. I'm down to months. And so I texted her back, of course, and told her that we loved her, that we were praying for her, and told her to check with me more often. And she said she would try. She said life is hard right now, and her energy was very low. And so that was yesterday. And then we went live, and we let our people know that I just heard from her. We were so happy to hear from her. And we wanted everybody to continue praying for her. And because you don't really know what to say during times of this, but we do know that God can give you comfort during these times. And we wanted this comfort and peace for Laura. And so we went on, and then this morning I woke up, and I always get up, have a cup of coffee, and I sit and watch the news for a little bit. And I had I guess you would call it an unction or just a pressing, you need to call Laura and read scriptures to her. And I thought, well, I got to get a hold of Lynn, and maybe we could just take turns reading scriptures to her. And so I sent her a text, and I told her, I said, Laura, I want to call you. You don't have to speak. Just tap the phone so I know you're there, and just listen. And is this a good time? And I got a response back from her boyfriend, Steve, and he said, hi, this is Steve, Laura's boyfriend. I'm sorry to say Laura passed this morning. And so it was quite a shock, especially since we just talked to her on text yesterday. But I know where she's at, and Laura is in heaven with Jesus. And, when somebody that you care for passes, and you know where they're going, it's a happy thing for them. It's sad for us because we're left behind. But Laura is not suffering anymore. She's happy. I know she's with Jesus. And I thought, man, she's up there with my dad, my mother-in-law, all of her family. She's with her family. And so she's at peace now. And so I think what Laura would want for everyone listening right now is to know that when your time is done, do you know where you're going? It's a question that each of us need to be able to answer for ourselves, and I hope you know where you're going. If you haven't, think about it. Think about it, because from the day we're born, there's an expiration date on our life, and every day is a blessing, and I hope that you appreciate every day, breathing and talking, and I know it's a blessing. And I know that this life, there's a lot of hardships. We all have issues. We have problems. But there's somebody bigger than us that you can take them to. And anyhow, Adam, we know that Laura's in a better place, don't we?
Yeah, of course we do. And she was, when I first started this channel, I was kind of doing videos out of my car, and I did videos on my break at work, and I never expected it to grow and to have so many kind of loyal people. And then really, I think that part of it was with the Discord and with Jay Stone and Clan Mama and Dex and everybody that was part of the Discord crew, all of the people that went into kind of getting all of the state groups together. It was like I never expected to get this close to people that I've never even met in real life. I've never met them in person, but I've talked to the people in my audience more than I have, most of my actual family members. I mean, I have two sisters that I have not talked to as much as I have talked to, say, Florida Patriot 71 or, any of my mods. So it's like, or even the people that are here in the audience. It's like I've talked to some of them more than I have talked to family. So I just never expected to have this many amazing people around me. And I think the reason why that happened is because I told everybody to do their own thing, that I'm not the leader of this or anything. I'm not a host or anything. I told you guys to all start your own channels and to be your own Marf and Adam and whatever. And that started out all of these little branches of channels that started out, Central Florida Prepper, who's now Survival Living. He's sitting at 25,000. We helped all these small channels get their start. Instead of pushing other small channels in the same niche down, I always thought all these people in the truther / prepper / whatever niche, they're all just very cutthroat. They don't want to help anybody else because they think it's going to affect their own show or whatever. We have never thought like that. We helped all of the channels like hers and yours and everyone else, because it has grown this like unbelievable family of just amazing people. And then underneath each one of you, you have your own people that have related to you. And then we had all the state groups. We had groups around the world. We had people meeting in groups of 120 in some states, all under the guise of this channel and just talking about prep and getting ready for disasters and things. So I just, people like Florida Patriot 71, Laura, she stuck out. She was somebody who left a mark on everybody that she talked to. So I really appreciate you telling us that story.
Yes, she did. She definitely, she had a I don't know, special spirit about her. She was a sweetie. Definitely is a sweetheart.
She also didn't mince words. She had, she didn't filter. She just said.
Oh, that's true.
She said what was on her mind.
That's right.
Yeah, she said what was on her mind.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did, and that was something that always cracked me up. Yeah, she'd tell you. So her channel is still up, so you can go over and look at her videos and
again, it sounded like you cut out, but what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the channel, and then we'll also link yours. If you haven't seen Ann Lynn's show, the Ann Lynn, this is Ann of Ann and Lynn. They both do shows separately and together, again, and they do some really, 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 really great stuff. So it's really fun. Looks like something wasn't working here. So we will pull up the page and we'll have it in the background here for the show. And then Ann, I want to thank you for calling in.
You're cutting out on me, Adam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said I want to thank you for calling in and thank you for letting everyone know and for telling us again that I don't think we would have got that if it wasn't for you.
Well, you're welcome. I'm sorry to have that sad news to tell you, but we did do a live stream today over on our channel, a quick impromptu. I invited a couple other channels to come along. Vlad Groots, we love our Vlad, and Snafu Snaps. He was very close to Laura too. And so I said, guys, you want to do something? And they said, yep, we're all in. So we did a quick, about a half an hour live stream if you want to check it out. And we had a little tribute to her over on our channel. And so I just want to say thank you. And Adam, can I say this? We are still the grandmas, aren't we? You're still your grandmas, the G-mas. Aren't we the Marfoogle G-mas,
Absolutely.
Lynn and I? We're still your G-mas.
Well, you're way cooler than my Gmas ever were. They played solitaire, so they never edited and put together YouTube videos.
Oh, and I do.
We can hear you.
You are the leader of you're the leader for us. We do call you our leader, Adam.
I'm glad that I could bring so many people together, and it was by accident, and definitely wasn't by my power. It was by somebody above. So I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody in this Foogle family and in the Mafia.
Well, you're our leader, and we love you and Dex very, very much, and we wish you and all the Foogle fam a very, very happy, Merry Christmas, and a very good Happy New Year, too.
Well, Ann Lynn, again, we'll pull up your channel, and I'll make sure, especially during, and I'll also pull it up during the shout so we can show you off, and then make sure to send everybody to the correct channel for Florida Patriot. Steve, I believe, still has access to that. So if you want to leave comments on that channel, if you had an experience with her, or if you want to leave the comments down below, maybe he can get a chance to look at the comments down below this channel as well. You can do so if you had an experience with Laura. Thank you, Ann, and I appreciate you, and thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
You're welcome very much.
All right, Ann.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
And I'm sorry. Before we leave, in the next 2 days, I will be on the Ann Lynn show.
Yes.
Dex may be able to join.
Yes.
I haven't talked to him yet. We just figured it out today. So make sure to join us. I will go over on Ann Lynn's show, and we'll just hang out and talk about whatever, and of course whatever they plan on putting me through. So
we may put you through the ringer.
I know. No, it's okay. The last time was really fun. So, well, thank you, Ann.
We love you, Adam.
Oh, no worries. We love you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. To anybody that doesn't know, though, I mean, this is a community. This isn't me talking to you or me and Dex talking to you. This is you have an opportunity to meet people that are like-minded. In real life, people are telling you that you're crazy, that you're loopy. You're not like that. A couple of the rules here is we never let anyone talk negatively about anyone else in that chat, or creators talk about creators. In fact, I just told somebody today, I said it's not personal. It was a newer creator and another newer creator had a little tiff, and then we had one last week as well. There's if somebody says something bad about another creator, even if it's a creator, there's a couple creators I really have had real life experience with, and I just don't appreciate it a lot. Like, not going to say hate, but just really, they just were actual not great people, right? Even if somebody was talking about them, I wouldn't, hold a blind eye and let them talk crap about that creator in my chat. There's no talk about anyone else negative. As far as, if you want to talk about, Bill Clinton or something, that's one thing. But if it's somebody here on YouTube or somebody in the Foogle family or Mafia or somebody in another channel, that's not something we do. So do know that if you talk about another creator in the chat, you might be muted. It's nothing personal. It's going to be a dry mute. It's just going to be a mute and move on, and then you come back 5 minutes later. Don't be offended. If we all know you're adults, and if you didn't know the rule, that's why you're going to come back in 5 minutes, and then they usually try to tell you that's why you got booted. We always give people multiple chances, and of course for that, most people don't know that. So again, just wanted to let you know. All right, let's get into some of the now. Again, if you are sensitive to this kind of stuff, I would highly recommend you just taking a deep breath, maybe getting a cup of tea and just relaxing. This is nothing to be afraid of per se, but people should be extremely cautious and subconsciously be thinking about these things. These are real scenarios that are playing out right now, and there's always going to be kind of a little part of fear here in the back of people's heads, but you just need to be confident in what you need to do. And if you don't feel confident, then you may need to step up your game and line up some of your ducks, have some prep, have supplies, have things ready, because if you are, you're going to feel better about yourself and you're not going to be as stressed about these things. Most people in the United States don't know we are right at the edge of incredible conflict. They might have heard a little thing here and there on the news, but they assume that it's going to be like always, where it just keeps coming back down. The financial and the military changes have happened to where it can actually happen now. They're doing everything. Their actions speak a lot louder than their words. Gone Girl 777 says, much love all. Can't stay awake. New meds. Ugh. Fugle fam strong night all. Gone Girl 777, you're another one that I hope, there's people I just hope, I never have to say goodbye to. Like, it's like if my family members, my real life family members passed, I would feel the same way. And that's crazy to say, 3 years into this channel. Trinity, Red Pill, Blue Hill, Pop Pill, Heiko, Kermit the Frog here. Thank you. Appreciate all you do, Adam and Dex. I'm back, and thank you. Trinity, nice to see you again. Going through there's a lot of people in the chat right now going through cancers, going through issues, going through everything. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and we're so blessed to have you another night. Satellite images appear to show Russian military forces massing near the Ukrainian border, with the Buk anti-aircraft missile system and army tanks also filmed in the Voronezh region. Again, just to repeat that, the Buk anti-aircraft missile system and army tanks. That was right on the Voronezh region border there. It says satellite images appear to show them massing, and it says footage shared on social media purports to show a Buk anti-aircraft system and army tanks in the Voronezh region while naval games were being undertaken in the tense Black Sea. Space firm Maxar Technology has also released images of supposed columns of Russian forces stationed in the Smolensk district. Both Voronezh and Smolensk are less than 200 miles away from the Ukrainian border. It says intelligence reports that have revealed that at least 90,000 Russian soldiers, along with heavy artillery and tanks, are now in place on the Russian side. This could rise to as much as 175,000 personnel by early next year, reports claim. Now, early next year is in a month, just to put that in perspective. And that is because they're using actual intel about how and where they're moving. They are saying that upwards of another 100,000 troops are possibly on their way right now. That's close to 200,000 staff and personnel and military personnel heading towards Ukraine. But yeah, it's all a drill. Oh, wait, they already did that drill. They brought 150,000 troops to the border, and then they backed up and they said, oh, we were just kidding. It was just a drill. Now you actually see China doing the same thing. They surrounded the island with their fishing, their secret fishing navy, the hardened fishing boats that they have actually militarized. It's part of their secret navy on top of their regular navy, which is now the largest in the world. Militarized cannons, anti-aircraft on these fishing boats, and they've retrofitted them so they just look like fishing boats from satellite. Crazy stuff. All of this is done at the same time. Right now is a buildup like no one has ever seen. It says the buildup comes as Vladimir Putin hit out at a journalist for a provocative question when asked if he intended to invade Ukraine, but in his answer, the Kremlin president did not rule out doing so. It says Russia is pursuing a peaceful foreign policy, but it has the right to ensure its security, he said, following his video summit with JB, our current prez. So it almost sounds like he's trying to hint like, oh, he's going to be the one attacked, or like NATO's going to fake something and then they're going to go in and take him out. Does he have intel or something that we're going to a first strike attack him? Well, one thing I think about is how one of our senators, actually one of our Congress, it was Senator Roger Wicker, just said that we are not only not ruling it out, we're looking at it as far as first strike capabilities with China and Russia. First strike nuclear abilities, right? Dex, now that you're free up, I mean, this is pretty big stuff. And did you kind of catch that? Why would he say it like that? Like, he's basically saying like he's on the defensive or something.
Well, yeah, it totally is. So, when the Ukraine became its independent country, as it tried to side more with the West, and especially as of late asking to be part of NATO, it becomes a huge threat to Moscow, so to speak. In other words, it would be one of the closest places if they were to become a NATO member, it'd be one of the closest places where we could put NATO nukes that could easily strike Moscow, right? That could be very quickly launched and, basically right at their doorstep. It's almost the equivalent of, when the Soviets wanted to put them in Cuba, right? We didn't want them that close to our country, so we fought over that, right? So this is sort of that same thing from his point of view. From our point of view, we're saying, oh, well, they're a democratic nation. We want to support their freedom. We don't need them over. They're independent. They're asking the rest of the world to help them. So we're going to help them, right? So there's a couple different angles on this. And then there's also other things like, resources in that country, gas lines that run through that country into Europe. And actually, I think the Nord Stream gas line that is running around it is circumventing sort of the value of Ukraine's gas lines. But it's really interesting how he's phrasing that. And it's a serious deal. This is not, just showmanship. There's really a high potential that he'll roll in. And as we reported, sorry, I'm going long here, but as we reported last night with with one of the people that was talking about this exact event that's happening, saying there was no way, because they're planning evacuations, right? They said basically there doesn't seem to be any way for us to stop him if he does do it. In other words, if he wants to roll in, he's going to roll in. We're not going to do anything unless we put troops and military and go head to head against Russia. Not a proxy conflict, but the real deal. He's going to take it. So that's sort of concerning, and it's very much the same thought on Taiwan.
And, because do we get in a conflict with two of the world powers over this? Do we care that much about Ukraine? Do we have resources there? Is it this? Is it that? Well, it's almost more about the principle of who's the most powerful, but it almost seems like we've almost been infiltrated. And this is just my personal opinion. This isn't backed up other than from what I see. It seems like our upper echelons have been infiltrated. It's like we're doing things that almost purposely look like we're destroying ourselves. We're, taking our own head off here. This is insane. In fact, just while we're on the point, Wages World had given us some information as far as what he believes he heard was that he heard all these rumors about this huge shortage in Suboxone. It's a medication that people use, and it blocks It blocks it's basically like antabuse for alcohol, but it's for heroin. And all of these...
it's like methadone too, right? Isn't that another one that's similar to it?
Yes. So methadone and Suboxone or whatever, they're to replace heroin and opiates, right? And what he says is that it was almost like a purposeful, like they just all of a sudden just disappeared, like it was just wiped out, and a huge shortage of this. And if it gets worse, the rumor is that if it just completely stopped, that possibly hundreds of thousands of people that are hooked on the worst kind of drug that would do literally anything to stay well would be right out on the street the second that they can't get their medication. And we're talking about a medication that would stop, like pharmacies would not have it. It would just not be there. So then you have, hardened drug addicts that need to get it. The thought was, and the way I believe he put it, or Dex, do you want to say how he put it? Was basically,
I think it's in screener. I put it in there if you want to read it exactly. But my understanding was they were having a delay on it up to potentially 6 months. And if people don't have this and they need it and they don't take it, it then causes them to have the reactions that they would have from withdrawals, right? Which then puts them into a very bad state, mentally and potentially physically. And the actions that they would perform, based on that wouldn't be good around the people, in their close proximity or in their community, etc.
Yeah, it says, we have been seeing shortages of Suboxone for 6 months. If they were able to seriously disrupt the supply chain even more and recovering addicts didn't get their Suboxone for withdrawals, you would have massive crime and total chaos when every drug addict on Suboxone or even methadone hit the streets in a withdrawal frenzy. In my opinion, this was part of the plan to unravel us from the inside even before they try an attack. If you need any info on that, just let me know. I'd be more than willing to help. And if you don't have to credit me, of course we will. I just want people to look at this also. Anyway, hope all is well with you. Total saying God bless and prayers for all of us. Also, thank you for having the balls to come out and talk about it, knowing some others will attack you. Yeah. So again, like this is big stuff. Because I mean, it just seems like in every angle we're getting divided with our color, with our classes, with rich and poor, this and this and this and this and this and this, left and right, dark and white, and it's just like every part of us. And people always hear when you say that, then people go, "Oh, that's because conquer and divide." But I don't think they actually believe that this is actually happening. This isn't a cliche. It's really happening. Like, that means that there is an effort, an actual concerted effort to divide and conquer. That would mean, if it's true, that means there's an actual operation in place. Like, people are, planned everything out. And in that case, if that was true, that means a whole lot of things would fall right into place. So I guess it's you have to look at things from different angles. Because when you start looking at things from multiple angles, you're not pulling anything out of context. You're just looking at it from another angle. All of a sudden, these things pull in. Big time. Russian tensions with U.S. over Ukraine could see a repeat of the Cuban Missile Crisis, Moscow warns. Russian tensions with U.S. over Ukraine could see a repeat of the Cuban Missile Crisis that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. And that's, of course, Moscow warning that. Russia has warned that the escalating tensions with the U.S. over Ukraine risked repeating the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. And it says, it really could come to that. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov was quoted as saying by Interfax. It says, if things continue as they are, it is entirely possible, by the logic of events, to suddenly wake up and see yourself in something similar. It says he was referring to the 1962 standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The comments come amid concerns in the West over Russian troop buildup near Ukraine. Moscow has expressed alarm at Ukraine's closer ties with NATO and also accused Kiev of a troop buildup. On Thursday, Germany's new foreign minister warned Russia that it would pay a high political and economic price if it made any militaristic moves against Ukraine. Annalena Baerbock, speaking in Paris while making her first foreign trip a day after taking office, emphasized the need to coordinate a common European position when dealing with hostile neighbors such as Russia. Now, remember, this is a whole different kind of place. If anyone has ever been to Russia, they know The culture is different. Everything is different there. But these, this is a whole, I mean, like the culture itself is a pound your chest kind of tough kind of man's world. I know I ended up, I was engaged to a Russian, with a Russian family, and it was an experience in itself. I learned a lot of the cultural kind of things that went along with that, and it was definitely like a culture shock, and that was here in America, just the way that their family worked. So this is like, this is something not to play with. Never underestimate your enemy. It's the art of war, right? So I definitely think people are soon going to wake up, that alarms are going off, and soon people are going to wake up to a whole different world if we're not careful. And then,
and I think, and as I was saying earlier, sorry, Adam,
go ahead.
The closest location I want to say is probably going to be Germany and Turkey, as far as where we have NATO nukes right now, right? So adding another country like the Ukraine would be a huge threat. I mean, because it's literally right next door, right? And they don't want that. It doesn't mean that even if they join NATO that we would necessarily put them there, but we could. Yeah,
it's definitely it's something that people need to be paying attention to immediately. It's not something that you take a look at later. This is today and now kind of stuff. Now, in a second here, I could not believe this, how many of these that there were. In a second here, we're going to show you the 911 systems going down in different places around the country, and this is like a now thing. Like, why is this happening in the last week? What are they practicing for? If you don't think something massive is coming, stick around here in just a second. We're going to show you something that should kind of open some eyes. Delaware Sasquatch says, don't forget O's admin handed Crimea. I think that was, it's spelled Crimea or whatever. I almost read that wrong. Like the human, transhuman things, the pig human things. It says O's admin handed Crimea over to Russia. Why would JB be any different? Maybe P-Man held up another laptop during the meeting. Any avid hunters in your family causing trouble? Yeah, they could say, hey, we got some dirt on you, buddy. The Politics channel, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Welcome. And then Sue Lathern, thanks for Honest Talk. Well, hey, thank you, Sue, for again being here, and thank you for supporting us, and appreciate each and every one of you that come in and join us. Soldier for Jesus Tyler, love the name, by the way. Be ready, bride. The Lord God Jesus Christ is about to take us home. Trinity Red Pill or Blue Pill, again, thank you for being here, and I'm glad you're back. LSR 86, I hope I hit you last time. Thank you. Andrew King, thank you for joining, and welcome to the Marfia. Before we move on and I show you this is some pretty crazy stuff. Before we get to that, man, that's crazy too. TikTok insiders say Beijing staffers make many product decisions even as the company distances itself from China. So we talked about this. We covered, of course, during T-Man's administration, they were trying to ban TikTok, and they were saying that it was a security threat to national security. And then it ended up that they said that they would run it partly in America and that they would have a whole different separate kind of thing. Well, apparently it's coming out that they're still being run by China. Is that, do I read that right, or am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is crazy. So think about it. There is no TikTok in China. Like, they don't put this out to their population, but they put it out to our population, right? And I say they, I'm talking about China, and I'm talking about ByteDance, which is a Beijing company, which is, in theory, all companies there are controlled by China, right? Controlled by the government of some sort. So especially at this size. But what's interesting here is even the U.S. portions of the employees, and this is a handful of employees that are, some have recently left, and some have given their information anonymously, even their identity, but they held it back in anonymity because they're currently working there in the product group, meaning these people make decisions about what features, what functionality, what they try to design in the product itself. They have to answer back to Beijing. They have to answer back to ByteDance in corporate, as they call it, headquarters in China. And their decisions are overridden. Their directives are given to them from Beijing. And they don't have the autonomy you would think they would have as a U.S. subsidiary running a product that runs here in the U.S. and other locations around the world. Yet this product is not in China. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, certainly maybe there's some, you could just say, yeah, there's a great Chinese entrepreneur at ByteDance. He thought of this great product. It doesn't really work in the Chinese culture, so they run it out the rest of the world, and they're making money, and they're, great entrepreneurs. Good for them. But I also have to look at it and say, okay, well, what is it that they're trying to do with this? They being the country, trying to do with this product to America or to all of the users, and what type of information and data, and what are they gathering, and what potentially can they be exploiting? Because they're not doing this to their own citizens.
Yeah, it's apps for thee, not for me, right? I mean, that should be the first sign right there. It's like they want us to consume it, but they don't want their people to consume it. I guess they are kind of a different kind of country, especially now that they're saying that they don't want any kind of Western culture, any kind of idolization of anybody in the movies or in TV or in music. They especially hate, the Chinese government does not want anyone listening to BTS, anything effeminate. They have cut that out. They've actually passed a law, and they've removed effeminate men from television. They have removed communications through video games. They have removed certain video games, and now, if you are anyone, you cannot play video games like Call of Duty or anything, but once a week from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it doesn't matter what video game it is, the entire country is limited from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday. That's weird. There's just so many weird things going on. I mean, imagine if that happened here. Like, oh, you can only play Grand Theft Auto 5 on Friday from 8:30 to 9. And the second it turns 9, they're turning off. That's not, I mean, that's like virtually no freedom. Like, it's a civilized country that yet, how is that even civilized? They're telling you what you can and can't do, and they're tracking every part of your movement. You are forced to have their kind of cell phone, their thing, their this. You can't own anything. I mean, why are we even doing business with a country that basically has like glorified, SLAVES? It seems crazy. Oh, and
now, think about it.
Now they're turning around capitalism too. They're not letting their people do that again.
Exactly. And think of it like this. Like, okay, your biggest adversary wants to build an application for your children that will consume so much of their time and program the content that they're going to absorb for the next 5 to 10 years of their developmental life, from the ages of, say, 13 to 25, right? And we're going to let this other country that's our biggest adversary do that and control it, and we're okay with it. And it's like, okay, yeah, they can do that, and whatever they're doing, they won't even do to their own people. They're going to do it to our people.
No, they're turning our teenagers into zombies.
It's crazy.
TikTok got copied by this platform and by Instagram. They're all copying it, trying to get these 15-second stories. And you know what? You know how these things are addicting. If you go through shorts, and you know what, a lot of shorts on here are actually just ported over TikToks. They literally have the TikTok sticker on it, like they just copied and pasted, right? TikTok is addicting because it's 10 seconds. It's something new, and people put all of their effort. They'll put a whole day of effort into 15 seconds. So that 15-second is something entertaining every time you swipe. And it is addicting. This is designed that way. It's taking all of our children and making it so they can't have an attention span over 15 seconds. Meanwhile, their kids are only playing video games once a week, if they're not getting a 5.0 GPA, right? Like they're literally doing extra credit on top of 4.0 GPAs, drilling, just getting the smartest kids that have ever lived over there. Meanwhile, we are over here and kids are barely making it through school. In fact, it's no child left behind. If they failed, well, just pass them anyways. This is like the movie. Yeah. What was that movie with Idiocracy? People are getting stupider by the day. Stupider's not a word. I'm stupid.
Well, and it's not just, Adam, it's not just, okay, 15-second videos and attention spans are dropping and they're wasting a ton of time. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, and that's just, I don't want to call it benign. It's something, right? It may not be good. It may not be healthy, but that's just part of it. And that's what, Instagram and this platform, and they're all doing that. But what it really comes down to is when they control the algorithm of what gets shown. In other words, they have, and we know they've taken a 1 million-person army and put it online to control the narrative. Well, now they don't even need the army. They can control it through an algorithm. And if they want a message to become popular on TikTok, or certain videos that maybe they created or they didn't create, but they have the right message, they can control that algorithm that's programmed to all of our children and all of our young adults.
Yeah, it's something that's way more powerful once you understand the algorithms and what they have done to it. We obviously know through Congress and what Facebook has been going through that it is extremely powerful, and we know that. Congress is, now Facebook got called out for it. I mean, they were doing actual health harm to our people, and they got really good at it. They were doing actual physical harm to our kids, to everybody. It's insane. And our actual brains, we are devolving with social media. It's bad. How many kids do you know that read books still? And I'm sure there's a few of you that probably run your lives a little bit different, or maybe some old school people here. Maybe you do have some kids that read. My 6-year-old reads more than my 15-year-old. My 15-year-old, though, is in this new thing, this new group of kids. She can't be away from a plug-in. I have 3 kids with one mom and 1 kid with the person I was with in high school. And that 15-year-old was with mom. Again, I don't, I guess it's like, she's growing up. She grew up in this time. She had access to a lot more stuff than probably I would let my kids have, right? And it's like, she can't be away from a plug-in. It's like, if you go in a car, it has to have a plug-in. And I'm sure some of you can relate out there. These kids can't actually be away from a plug-in for 10 minutes. They'll have an AirPod in and they'll be talking to their friends. And it's not like a normal, like, teenagers talk, like, yeah, Susie. It's like, no, they'll sit there for 2 hours without saying a word just to have a connection over the phone. I mean, like, 2 hours into Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, I know what you mean. You were on the phone the whole time. So our entire family conversations on some, in some living room on speakerphone. It's like that kind of stuff is real. And that's what it's going down this horrible road. And a lot of you see it. I hope you do. If you don't have teenagers, then you probably don't. But again, now people are seeing it at 5, 4, 3, 2 years old. Kids are getting cell phones at 5 years old. And then parents are getting arrested for taking it away. All right. And then, so yeah, obviously something's a little off with that. If you want to prepare yourself, there are ways to do it that you can actually save. I would highly recommend going through any of our affiliates or our friends' affiliates. If you want to support your favorite YouTube show, usually check their affiliates. Again, this is a way that you can actually get something you already planned on doing. If you planned on prepping or getting prep gear, you can do it through our link. And again, that will help us out and you get a huge discount. I pretty much everything I get, I end up getting through an affiliate link of some kind, whether it be High Impact Flicks or Israeli News Live or Jacob Israel or whoever I can, I try to use an affiliate link because one, it saves you money, and two, it helps the channel out. Again, Essentials of Life. This is a program. Again, it's marfooglenews.com/prep. It's run through My Patriot Supply. It's basically a one-stop shop for anything you might need. My recommendations, though, is water purification. If you have a water purification system, you will have a big sigh of relief if anything serious happens, because that is why they say 90% of us would perish, because we would not have drinkable, potable water. This is a serious thing. Every house should have a backup kind of drinkable water type thing. And if we did, 90% of us wouldn't die. Again, that's something that is pretty easy, and it's like, why not? But again, some of this is not, super cheap. This is, actual solutions to long-term and short-term survival food. They have food that can last years. The samples that I tasted, again, were 7 years old, and they still tasted really good. So again, that's why I chose this company over others. I tasted another one. It was just, ugh. This one was amazing at 7 years old. Again, go over and check it out, marfooglenews.com/prep. You can get gadgets, battery banks, power options. You can even get iodine pills. Again, everything is over there. Make sure to go check it out. It helps us out, and it ends up helping you prepare as well. All right, and then Alexa Pure Pro, make sure to Google that when you get over onto their site. It's one of the best water filtration systems out there, and then they have, again, their air system as well. All right, and then Exiting Babylon, there will be wars and rumor of wars come out of her first live show. Good job, guys. Great job, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stacy Lanter, praying for your families, Adam and Dex. God bless you, and thank you. Thank you, and I appreciate that. Over on D-Live, thank you so much for those of you that have been supporting since the beginning of the show. AR15 says, the AWS outage happens my third night at the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Virginia. Oh, man, so you were there when it happened. Love to hear that story. And then Defrustrated, God bless her and her family and all that loved her, Marfoogle. And then Lisa K23, thank you so much for dropping a Ninja Guinea into, again, D-Live. That is much appreciated, and thank you. Things are moving fast. Stay braced, love, and keep preparing. Release the Quacken, thank you as well for going above and beyond over there with a Ninja Guinea. And then, of course, AR15 Joe says, I just started at Amazon, and I was not at work during the outage. It did not come back up until almost 12 a.m. Oh, you were at work during it. So, yeah, it went out for a lot longer than they said it went out. That's pretty bad. Scooby-Doo-Doo, right? Red. Again, Red. I appreciate you. Roll 69. Greifel. Raphael Solos. Thank you. Global Impact. And thank you, Jammer1. It looks like you gifted out Mafia badges. Roll. Thank you. Release the Quacken. Thank you for gifting out badges. That is much appreciated. That purple Mafia badge, it's really appreciated that you guys get to gift those to other people. So that's really one of the coolest parts about D-Live is that camaraderie that you can show there. Let's get our next caller on, and then we'll talk about China vows to open fire on U.S. troops.
Wouldn't that be horrible if it was your third day on the job at Amazon and you tripped over the cable or something, and that's what caused the outage?
Yeah,
I know that's not what happened, but that would just
that would be the kicker.
Yeah. All right, let's get our caller on.
All right, and then I'm going to show you all of the different places that went out. This is insane. If you don't think something's going on, you will. All right, looks like we have Corey.
And Adam, I'm trying to get Corey on. 1 second.
No problem. Calling from Idaho.
And Adam, it looks like we're having an issue again. So let me give me a minute. Let me move on to the next story for a second, and I will get Corey back on the line.
Okay, no worries.
She must be having difficulty.
Francis F., thank you for all your all of yours, Dexes and mods, hard work, love and light. Thank you for shouting out the mods. I appreciate that. Mr. Universe, just want to say thanks to Dex, mods, and you and Adam for making this channel possible. Well, thank you as well. Don B., thank you for your PayPal donation over there. Joanna H., thank you. Karen W., and Sam H., thank you. I appreciate your support over there. Without people that go above and beyond like you, again, I don't know how long we would have survived, especially last year. It just was absolutely horrid with the platform. So Deborah W., thank you so much as well. Carla K., you guys are all amazing. Thank you for being at that tier. Thank you. And then, so I'm gonna
and Adam, I'm trying one more time with Corey.
Okay, and then I'm gonna show some people.
Hello?
Okay, Corey, we got you. What's going on? You're live.
Hi, great. Sorry, a little nervous. In a little less than 6 hours on a YouTube channel called We Want Mashiach Now, they're saying that there's going to be a message directly from their Messiah. And the most important thing you can do right now. Did I lose you?
No, go ahead. We're all listening.
Oh. And I just thought that, that was kind of interesting. I mean, we've seen prophecy pretty much jump off the pages. Just this past year, they announced that the Dead Sea is coming back to life and the Euphrates is drying up. And starting last spring, possibly last winter, there was an individual in Israel, and everybody was just fawning over him. So with this announcement, basically they're saying that the anti-person is going to be giving a speech.
And is that in Israel?
Yes. Yes. 4 days ago, one of their higher-up rabbis confirmed this individual as a possible candidate. There was another rabbi, really high up, one of, many that are older, and he said that come fall, the Messiah would be revealed. And there was something else. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry, and it might.
Yeah, I lost my.
No, well, it's loading here for a second. I'm not going to play it, but an important message from the Moshiach Messiah, and so these people are going to wait, and it's essentially they believe that this is a message from. I mean, are you saying it's basically
yes.
like a message from their God?
Not so much their God. The way my dad explained things to me, they aren't necessarily looking for our Messiah. And even when he first came, they weren't looking for someone who was serving. They're looking for someone who is going to take control and basically bring peace. And on another link, on the same platform, they're going to have a premiere of how they're going to build the third temple. They have absolutely everything ready, the crown, everything that goes in the temple. They've had all of that since, I started looking into it last year. But they also have those that they have done DNA testing, I guess, to see if they're from the line of the Levites or the priests. And they've been practicing sacrifices for at least the past year. how everything's going to be done. And there are also 2 red heifers. And these red heifers, I believe at the age of 2, they have to be all red. They can have no white, no blemishes or anything. And that heifer is going to be a temple offering.
Jacob Israel did a video on the red heifers and the prophecy of that, and how it's all of these things are lining up. And by the way, I just wanted to add too, they found the chariot wheel, which possibly was from when the water was split. They found coral in the shape of a chariot wheel.
Yeah.
And Sodom and Gomorrah, they had found pillars of salt underneath the ground in the Middle East, and they think now it may have been an asteroid that hit and flashed so fast and so hot that it turned everything into salt. So it's like we're actually seeing real things from the Bible come out. And I mean, some of you are like, oh yeah, duh, right? Crazy.
Yeah, and it's it is. All the players are on the board for Ezekiel 38, which is the war of Gog and Magog. Now, what could possibly bring that about with Russia and Turkey attacking would be if took out the Bashir naughty site.
Yep.
I don't know if you can say in your KE, but Israel isn't going to allow them. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that. They're not going to allow them to have the full capability in order to attack them. And as short as last week, they were very close to having that capability. And of course, they want to destroy and us. And then there's also Mystery Babylon, which very well could be the United States, because everybody has got drunk off of the wealth here. And it speaks about in an hour that being destroyed, and people see it happening, which, I kind of found that interesting, especially since we have all of these freighters that are off both of our shores.
Which very well could be, missiles, any number of things. And now did you see yesterday or the day before how now officials are saying that those could be missiles? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
What we talked about months ago, what everybody knew.
I wouldn't put it past them. No, it's
absolutely unbelievable that this is happening right now. Everything is coming together. Basically, the internet was right. It's like, oh, well, it must be true. You heard it on the internet. Everything on the internet's true, right? It's kind of
this was
scary.
I saw it on Wallytron 101, and then I did research on it for probably an hour before I actually found the actual website that is going to be broadcasting it. And the gentleman who created that channel says that this is just the first of many. And it takes a lot for that country to actually say, okay, yes, this is it. This is the fact. This is who we're following. This is who's going to bring peace. And it's kind of a surreal feeling, for the past 2 years. I mean, every time that, you go to Jacob Israel, or you go to, Watchman on the Wall 88 and Tony Catechism, you just hear of all of these prophecies coming true. And, for those of us that are it's, we've known this was coming. We may not have known that it was in our lifetime, but we knew it was coming. And also with that country turning 73, if Matthew 2:4 was speaking about the generation who saw that country become a country again. All of the things that are basically prophesied as far as all of the bad stuff that's coming up in the end of the book, excuse me, then with them turning 73 this year, and the Bible says that a generation is 70, 80 if by strength. So that really leaves that generation only 7 years, which that 7 years is going to be, the worst time this world has ever seen.
Yeah, we're talking about the time before the end. So
yes,
it's kind of a big important thing here.
Again, yeah, I mean, this is just huge.
Yeah, and the third temple and everything else, that's just, all of these things are kind of swirling around. And for those of either the people that don't really get into it, or the people that are just, frankly, they don't want to be educated on it, they wouldn't realize that there are all of these things. And if they did know that, they would know why these crazy people think we're in end times. It's not because we all just had a dream and think it's coming. It's because there's actual signs, things that go back thousands of years. There's actual things going on right now. And it's where you are on a spiritual level, as far as, why are we here? Why are we really, why are we really alive right now? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of it? Corey, again, we are on a tight schedule tonight. So I wanted to give you one.
Yeah, I was afraid that we were getting a little bit long.
Yeah, no, but that.
And Lynn, watching the show.
I just wanted to let you know.
You, and thank you, Dexon.
You do have another minute or so. So if you want to finish out a statement, you can. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no. I've been trying to keep track of the time also. I just like everybody in the Fugel family, to just pray about it. And I would also like some prayers, because I have continuously, night after night, for the past 7 nights, had a nightmare that I can't breathe. And I would just like everybody to pray that will just stop, go away, and I will never experience it ever again.
No, not fun. Corey, I appreciate your call, and that's a nightmare. My nightmare is being buried alive or drowning. That's like the two things that make my the hair on my neck stand up.
Yes, definitely. But I'm going to jump off here. Hello to the Fugel family. Marf, I love you. Dex, I hope your wife is doing good, and I love you too. So thank you all.
Well, thank you. And then that is the kind of thing that Fugel family do. She even cares about, because Dex told everybody on maybe 1 or 2 shows that his wife, Lexi, broke her leg and like really bad down the stairs. The pictures were gross in itself. Which, by the way, do you want to give a update? Is there any update? Did she do surgery yet, or no surgery?
Yeah, she's recovering, and anybody who's been through that type of break, it knows it takes a heck of a lot. And so yeah, she's still doing it. No surgery so far. That's good. Everything's going like it's supposed to go, but it's not a fast process. It's a painful process, mentally, physically, like, not being able to do things for yourself. And my wife's a very independent woman, so when she has to rely on me, it frustrates her, and it frustrates me, because I'm probably not the best nurse in the world. So, but yeah, she's coming along. Prayers are always welcome.
So to get right into the next story, again, we're all praying for Lexi, and she knows that. And then China vows to open fire on U.S. troops that come to Taiwan's aid. So they are putting it out quite blankly, or quite straight, what they're going to do if we come to their aid. It says China's military will heavily attack U.S. troops who come to Taiwan's rescue. If a war between China and Taiwan breaks out, a possibility that is increasingly likely as the regime readies its war machine on Taiwan's borders. The latest threat to attack the United States during any standoff between China and Taiwan was issued Thursday in the Global Times, an official Chinese mouthpiece that prints the regime's propaganda. It says it is credible that the People's Liberation Army will heavily attack U.S. troops who come to Taiwan's rescue. The paper wrote, such credibility is increasingly overwhelming the deterrence that U.S. troops may have. It says China's latest threat to escalate tensions in Taiwan comes from the heels of the remarks of the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who said that the United States is prepared to counter an attempt by China to forcefully seize Taiwan and bring it back into the country's orbit. The long simmering standoff comes as the Xi administration confronts Russian attempts to invade Ukraine, a situation that could also prompt U.S. intervention. Do you see what's happening here? They're doing it at the same time. I don't know if they did a backdoor deal or they're talking to the presidents or they're saying, hey, if you want to avoid an all-out massacre, maybe they have stuff we don't know about. It seems like China has basically weaved its little web in everything. They have bought so much property in every country. It's unbelievable. In California, anyone who lives in California knows if a house goes up for sale, it's like, oh, Chinese buyer, all cash. You know why? Because they can't buy property in their own country. This is not a joke. This isn't saying something about culture or the people or anything. It's actually how their government works. So these people, and China has created more billionaires than even the U.S. in the last couple of years. They created all these billionaires. Well, these billionaires couldn't actually spend their money the way they wanted to. They couldn't really buy. They could lease stuff in China. But guess what? They take that money overseas. They could buy things. In fact, you want dual citizenship? Did you know you can buy it? If you buy enough land or buy enough property or buy enough houses in a certain country or many of them, they will actually give you a special kind of citizenship. That is something that worked in, I believe, Australia. I want to say New Zealand and other places, to the point where there were Chinese huge billionaires that were going to all these different countries, and they were able to even get citizenship there because of how much they were buying. And anybody and if anybody wants to sound off, I know a bunch of people because I used to work at this place that did all sorts of like real estate services. I know a lot of real estate agents that say it's just insane. They'll list a house in California. It's gone like that. Chinese buyer. And it will be like a Chinese shell account. Like, it's crazy. You can tell that it's somebody that's just, they'll buy 15 houses on one block. They have money. Specifically, waterfront property. That's what kind of tweaks me. And just a little conspiracy theory in me, I'm thinking like, they're buying up all the waterfront property. What if they purposely left those like abandoned and snuck up at night, you know? What if they know all of these properties that the government or the Chinese government owns on the waterfront? Couldn't they use that as staging? Think about that. Then you would say, well, there's sensors out there. Well, guess what? What if you have all of your equipment that's already sitting off on cargo ships that you own and you run the port? I mean, like, this is just, if they did want to do damage, they could. And they're saying they want to do damage, and then they're taking Ukraine, doing this at the same time. Dex, isn't that crazy? I mean, think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's so many connections, so many pieces of the web that's been weaved, and who owns it, who controls it, and how can they easily sneak stuff in? Can they have stuff sitting in waiting? I mean, it's kind of crazy. You think about it, and we'll never know it all until it actually happens.
That's right.
Until then, it's just speculation.
We'll have little pieces here and there, but That's why it's important that we look at this as kind of a group and a community. We all share ideas, we all share information, and we try to get as close to the truth as we can, because we're never going to have all the answers. I think the only people that have the answers are the people that are making the plan. The people that are doing the evil. So the people that are going to have evil done to them, we have to figure it out day by day, and we have to look at it, and we have to be analysts. Everyone here has to turn it. You guys are basically soldiers here. You've got to get these messages out. You've got to go share stuff out. You guys really have to start sharing out not only our stuff, but everyone that you feel, that you relate to and that you think that are doing a service, not only ourselves, whoever else is in your circle of people that you trust. You need to share those things out. Take the effort, actually share their channels out, because guess what? The platforms aren't going to do it. So I especially appreciate those of you that are sharing us through these platforms we're not even on. So thank you. Allison Abitney, thank you. And Shen Jacques, something to ponder. Mr. Globaloni is following the end time script to make people think it's the end of the world. So we're more accepting of the stream stunts he's pulling. Sabbatean Frankism. Interesting. And then Michael Heaton, not Keaton, not Batman. Thank you. And then Exiting Babylon. Again, thank you, Stacy Lanner and Sue. I appreciate you. It says China limits vasectomies to avert population decline. Dex, I know the first thing that came to your head when you saw this. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Well, I was thinking this is hot on the heels of
Musk.
Elon, and then I'm also thinking that if there's a conflict and you lose population because you're involved in it, you probably need to replace it. And we know that they're very, very keen on managing their population.
It's like there's these meetings in the back room, and they're like, oh yeah, we're probably going to lose 10 billion people, or we're going to lose 5 billion people. What do we do? They're like at the Bilderberg group or something, and they're like, oh, we're going to lose 5 billion people. Well, what is your country going to do? We need more people. We're not going to have enough people to enslave. Oh, I guess we could all try to have more babies. Elon Musk said yesterday, mark my words, everybody needs to have more children. And he said basically that the birth rates and all this are declining and whatever else. A lot of us looked at that and we said, hey, is he saying that we need to have as many children as possible for survival of the human race because something is about to knock off a huge chunk of our population? Like survival of the actual species here on Earth? Maybe they're not worried about it because they're going to go to Mars or Moon. I have such a big feeling that one day they're just going to do that beep, beep, beep. And they're going to tell it's going to be like a Greenland situation, and they're going to pick 1 million people. Remember, and he also said that 1 million of them were going to go to Mars. But like a Greenland situation happens and it's real. That freaks me out. Don't Look Up, that other movie. It's like that guy's the director of that movie. I'll talk about that in its own video. Make sure to stay tuned to Marfoogle News, the main channel. But now China limits vasectomies to avert population. This is the same place that did one child policy. So you can only have one child, and if you didn't, if you went above that, you would get fined, or I want to say some people might have been imprisoned. You weren't supposed to have more than one child. Now they're reversing that. Now they're saying they want to have as many kids as possible, and they're already at 1.4 billion people. How does that work? Why did they build all these ghost cities? Why? It's like there's so many weird little things that are just, it's just really, really putting the hair on the back of my neck up. Limits vasectomies. That's weird. And then, is warplanes prepare for a simulated I ran to the store? Is warplanes prepare for simulated attack on Iran to the store as nations' defense chiefs meet with U.S. to plan worst case scenario, destruction of Tehran's nuclear facilities. So saying that they would take them out first before they get a nuke. All of these things are happening at once. Is preparing for an aerial training mission that will simulate an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities as the country's defense chiefs meet with their U.S. counterparts to plan the next moves should negotiation with Tehran fail. The IS exercise will take place next year and involve F-35 stealth boomers accompanied by F-16 and F-15 fighters flying 600 miles out over the Mediterranean to replicate the distance required to strike nuclear targets in through the store. It says news of the drill emerged ahead of the meeting between IS Defense Minister Benny Gantz and U.S. defense chiefs today, with sources saying two sides will discuss joint drills designed to prepare for strikes on Iran. All of these things just kind of popped up like seriously, like there was some sort of meeting that everybody went to, and then all of a sudden stuff starts flooding out into the open. Like,
yeah, well, we've been predicting it. There's going to be 3 locations, and it's not. We've been saying this for a long time. We can rewind the show for many, 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 many months, if not more than a year, and say that there was going to be 3 locations between Taiwan, Ukraine, and running to the store. That's where it was going to happen, and that's what the next global conflict will be.
It doesn't make us feel good to be right. If we're right, that's a scary thought. Again,
and talk about being stretched thin, because we'll be involved in all 3.
Yeah.
Or we'll be expected to be. And we either will be so thin we can't do anything, or we'll, maybe we won't do anything, or we'll get involved, and that will cause another issue, right? Being thin.
By the way, you reminded me when you're talking about how they wanted to, Russia wanted to put missiles in Cuba, and they said, no, we don't want that. Well, there was satellite images of this new radar in Cuba, and it looked like a multi-million dollar project. Well, Cuba has been embargoed forever. They don't have the money to build this thing. So there's speculation on who helped them build it. It's like, duh, Russia. Russia's been making secret fleets, Cuba, and in Vietnam. Russia's been actually helping Vietnam make this secret navy. Like, all of this is for nothing? Like, that's what people think? Do you think that they're just going to do all of this to stay number 2 or stay number 3? Especially since now in the hypersonic field, supposedly, and I don't believe anything I see until it happens, but supposedly they say that they are ahead. Even our own officials warn that, our own officials are warning that we are actually having a space conflict above us right now. That's what Space Force 2 commanders said. And they said that they are ahead in hypersonics. Then we had Pentagon officials come out, NORCOM, CENTCOM officials. We have so many different officials coming out saying that we have already been beat in so many areas. CENTCOM, NORCOM saying that we are essentially getting ready for a conflict. But people still want to say, oh, yeah, no. It's just all crying wolf. It's all fear-mongering for views, right? Even though we get the same views no matter what we talk about. Okay. We will, I'm going to go back to this. So let's get to one of the main things I wanted to talk about here. So Seattle went down. I got an alert along with a lot of other people, and I'll show you that real quick if I can. So let me show you. So my phone is all screwed up, by the way. By the way, if I misspell something on Twitter, it's because there's a huge line through my phone, and it's cracked all the way up. But anyways, so this alert came. In fact, I can actually go to the real alert. think I can. Maybe they get rid of it when it's gone. It was still there as of like an hour ago. So this was the alert we get, and it says, alert Seattle from Seattle Police and Fire. If you cannot connect to Seattle 911, please dial blah, 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 blah. Then we get a tweet from actual Seattle Police Department saying that 911 is down in all of Seattle. It was down for hours and hours. I don't know if it's fixed now, but basically all of 911 system went down here. They're not saying it's a hack. They're not saying it's down because of this. They're not saying, oh, we're doing some maintenance. They're not saying any of that. Guess what? We have Knox County. And by the way, the dates on these are all, it says at 11:45 a.m. on Monday, Knox County residents received a public safety alert that 911 in the county was out of service. The alert gave residents the number of the Knox County Sheriff's Office to contact in the case of emergency until further notice. The outage lasted for more than 24 hours until about 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday. 24 hours. Oddly enough, ours is doing the same thing. It says this is not the first time Knox County 911 has been out of commission recently. On November 5th, the service was down for approximately 5.5 hours. So this is all in the last month, by the way. Twice. It says another outage occurred on October 16th. So 911 is going down multiple times here. Atlanta shifts 911 operations to Fulton County due to power outage. This is all since solar winds and other things. It says, again, so Fulton County due to power outage, right? They say that the E911 Communication Center has forced officials to move to the building the second time this month. This is just a few days ago, right? Then we have 911 outage resolved in Beaver Dam, Montpelier areas in Hanover County. It says there was a 911 outage for residents in part over Hanover County. The 911 outage in Beaver Dam and Montpelier of Hanover County has been resolved. It says residents were told if they had an emergency, they should call the non-emergency, right? And just to show you, to prove to you here, this was November 18th. These are all in the last 2 weeks, folks. These aren't 2 years old. These are all recent. 911 services in Mapleton experiencing outage. Residents of the Mapleton area have been experiencing trouble getting through the 911 system Wednesday morning. It says the Post, in case of emergency, these residents should call the sheriff's office at blah, blah, blah. It says it is unknown how long the outage will last, according to the Post. Cell service issues hamper contact to Petersburg 911 service. Again, these are all in the last, some of these are in the last 4 days. Debbie Loves Life tweeted at Marfoogle, I live in a small town in Oregon and ours went out down yesterday and came back on later last night. Talking about their 911. StackPath, military-aerospace.com is using a
No, that's not it.
Oh, okay. That got put in there. Hold on.
But there was two more at the beginning that you missed, Tyler and Hopkins County, right before Knox.
Oh, yes, that's right. Tyler Police 911 services fully operational after previous signal issues. December 6th. This was 3 days ago, 2021. Many 911 down. Hopkins County outside of Sulphur Springs. It says that, oh, call this number. It looks to me like they're testing these services going down because they believe that these are going to go down. And they're trying to do it on this level because they're trying to get ahead of something. That would be a logical response, right? Why else would all these be down? Unless the other worse, that's bad. But what's worse is if it's getting hacked and getting knocked out like this. I'm going to go over to the regular chat and see what you guys think about this.
We got 2 left on YouTube.
Oh, thank you. Leslie A, yes, testing. Rebel Snarful, Vicky K. Hey, guys, we're almost at 2 hours. Just so you know, you can join us over on Marfoogle Jams. The show continues. That's basically all of the news. We have one more story here. I'll just show you that. You can pause this and watch. You can actually read it later if you would like. Again, I'll just scroll through here slowly. You can pause there. Pause there. And pause there. The rest is on our website, marfooglenews.com. Dex, thank you for your services. Everybody make sure to go check out the web-only content down below on the website. Dex, love you, brother.
Much love. Great show, brother.
It is now time for the shoutro. It is not an outro. It is not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. Let's do it, baby.